It is official. The Buhari government is pardoning Boko Haram terrorists. The Buhari government is letting Boko Haram terrorists off the hook. This is very frustrating. I am very, very frustrated right now, considering how dear the Boko Haram issue is to me and for how many years I have been fighting Boko Haram terrorism in Nigeria. From the Jonathan time, I wrote tons of articles requesting and requiring of the Jonathan government to deal seriously with Boko Haram. This is one of the main reasons why I fought against the Jonathan government. I wrote tons of articles in which I demanded of the Jonathan government to deal with Boko Haram terror as stipulated by law. And now we have the Buhari government, and all the Buhari government is doing is pardoning terror, romancing terrorists, and freeing them. In my latest video, which you might have seen, which I captioned something like treachery, secret trial for Boko Haram terrorists, I lamented that Justice Binta Nyako under the Buhari government had declared secret trials for Boko Haram terrorists. I said, what are they hiding? I seriously decried that action in the video. That what are they hiding? Nigeria has never locked up a single sponsor of Boko Haram terror. The Jonathan government did not arrest and lock up a single sponsor of Boko Haram terror, and the Buhari government has also not arrested and locked up a single sponsor of Boko Haram terror. And we know that Boko Haram does not exist in a vacuum. So what is the government afraid of in an open trial for Boko Haram terror? The only thing that they are scared of is Boko Haram exposing sponsors of their actions to the public. Politicians, cabal, who this government, as with the previous government, continues to protect. Now the trials have started. And just like I knew, what is happening in these trials? Boko Haram terrorists, suspected Boko Haram terrorists, are being let off the hook. First of all, the delay in this trial has been very disturbing, both for the innocent and for the guilty. That alone has been a betrayal of justice. Now, out of only 1,669 suspects who are being tried, the trials of the first 575 just happened. At the end of the trial of 575 out of 1,669 suspects, only 43 were sentenced, 469 were dismissed. The 469 were dismissed and sent to deradicalization. If you are sent to deradicalization, that means you are suspected of terror. A normal person is discharged and acquitted. These were sent to deradicalization. I want you to take note of these things. Of the 43 who were sentenced, the Buhari government only sentenced them to between 3 and 31 years. Nobody got the death sentence. I repeat, none of Boko Haram terrorists got the death sentence as stipulated by the law. Why is this government romancing terror? Now you might say, oh, it's the judiciary, it's not Buhari. When Donald Trump, America's president, tried to make a Muslim ban and the court went against him, Donald Trump lambasted the courts. He publicly and openly expressed his objection with the ruling of the courts. If Buhari is not part and parcel of what the judiciary is doing, you will hear Buhari lament. You will hear Osinbajo lament. Nobody is lamenting. This is a concerted effort to free Boko Haram suspects and terrorists. Now, Nigeria's Terrorism Prevention Act is very, very simple. I'm reading Nigerian Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 as amended. It states in Act number 10, Section 4, support for terrorism. Without prejudice to subsection 2 of this section, where death results from any terrorist act, the penalty shall be death sentence. Without prejudice to subsection 2 of this section, where death results from any terrorist act, the penalty shall be the death sentence. How hard is it for the Buhari government to obey the law? The penalty for terrorism is death in Nigeria. In Cameroon, when they found terrorists, they sentenced them to death. In Somalia, when they found terrorists, they sentenced them to death. In Kenya, when they arrest terrorists, they sentence them to death. What kind of country is Nigeria? We have officially lost 4 years. 4 years, don't waste. What kind of evil people who do not respect the laws of God and the laws of man? The Bible is clear. An eye for an eye. Whoever kills shall be killed. The Quran is clear. If you kill, you will be killed. How hard? Why are these people so wicked? They have not locked up a single corrupt politician for corruption. And in terrorists, they have not arrested and locked up a single sponsor of Boko Haram. They free suspected sponsors like Senator Ndume by not bringing the witnesses to court, including the ones they have in custody. And then the suspects, they free them by violating the anti-terrorism law. 3 to 31 years. By so doing, they are promoting terrorism in the future. They are not deterring and discouraging terrorism. They are encouraging terror. Just like the Obasanjo did, they are encouraging terror. When you free terrorists, when you give illegal amnesties, you are encouraging terror in the future. We have lost 4 years. It is so freaking frustrating. I'm reading here, this is the Constitution. The president to grant any kind of amnesty, if you want to grant any kind of amnesty, now let's talk about the whole deradicalization thing, because Buhari is again flaunting the law with his so-called deradicalization amnesty for Boko Haram terrorists. There's some operation the military set up, Operation Safe Corridor, a total violation of the law. But Buhari and Osinbajo do not respect the law at all. There are certain conditions for granting amnesty to terror or any criminal act in the country. Amnesties are not just granted just like that. The military cannot grant amnesty. They have been so-called deradicalizing Boko Haram terrorists since under this so-called Operation Safe Corridor. It is totally illegal. It is aiding and abetting terror. Buhari and the military are aiding and abetting terror by this Safe Corridor program by not abiding by the stipulations of Nigeria's constitution. So even when the judiciary now sent the other 468 to the deradicalization, which has not been formalized, and amnesty has not been formalized. And that's why I talk of late yar'adua. Late yar'adua was a very great man. The Constitution of Nigeria says clearly, the president may grant any person concerned or convicted an amnesty or a pardon, which is an amnesty, a pardon, under certain conditions. Subsection 2 says the powers of the president under subsection 1, where you are granting some kind of pardon or amnesty, shall be exercised by him after consultation with the Council of State. I repeat, subsection 2 says the powers of the presidency under subsection 1 shall be exercised after consultation with the Council of State. It's very clear. It's a big decision to grant a pardon for terror. Everybody must follow due process. You must go through the court, see a judge, and the judge must sentence you or free you. Did Buhari ever consult the Council of State? No. Late Musa Yar'adua consulted the Council of State before he gave an amnesty to Niger Delta militants, aka MEND and the rest. The Council of States include, and this is section 175 of 1999 Constitution, you must consult the Council of States. The Council of State includes the president, who is the chairman, vice president, all former presidents of the federation, all former heads of government, all former chief justices, president of the Senate, speaker of the House of Representatives, all governors of the states of the federation, and the attorney general of the federation. Buhari never consulted them. He just granted amnesty, pardon for terrorists back on our streets. How do you discourage terror by so doing? These things are very, very frustrating. You need to go and watch part 1, where I'm describing all the different pardons, all the links of the government with terrorism, how they support terrorism. Why do you think Buhari will never bring Dasuki to court? All the people involved in looting billions of dollars that our military were under-equipped at the battlefront, dying in the hands of Boko Haram. Superior power of Boko Haram. Our civilian JTF were dying. Our youths died in Borno. Our soldiers died. Their tanks, substandard tanks, bombed. All of these people. Why do you think Buhari will never bring Dasuki to court? All the other military leaders, Ihejirika, Buratai, who was procurement master, he's even the chief of army. No punishment for all these people. Everybody off the hook. Hey, now wow. Now, when it comes to Fulani militants, armed Fulani militants massacring people on the streets, the government said they are not terrorists. Nigeria's Terrorism Prevention Act number 10 says, prohibition of acts of terror. Terrorism includes, this is by the definition of Nigeria's Terrorism Act, anyone that attacks on personal life which may cause bodily harm or death, kidnapping of a person, intimidate a population, destabilize or destroy fundamental things, unduly compel government, seriously harm or damage the country or international organization, all the things that Fulani militant headsmen do. Buhari pardoned them. Buhari said those ones are not terrorists. Now let me show you how evil this government is. When it was the turn of the Shia Muslims, who they do not like, because they are looking for Saudi Arabia money. They are trying. Nigeria's north was never divided. Did you ever hear of Sunni Shia before Buhari came into power? You see Buhari shaking Zakzaki and you see El-Rufai going to kneel down for him. Buhari, who could split the north, that is how divisive he is. When it was the turn of the Shia Muslims, because they want Saudi Arabia money and they want to divide, create divide, they want to bring war into Nigeria, guess what happened? El-Rufai sought death sentence for youth, Shia youth, who protested and threw sticks and stones at Nigeria's military convoy. Nigeria's military chief Buratai, who they had deployed to Maiduguri, who was meant to be staying in Maiduguri, was driving the streets. Militarization of the state. Military have no role on our streets. And if they are on the streets and anybody attacks them, they have to call the police. They cannot just massacre people. They massacre 1,000 people, bury them secretly at night. No justice for that. Now they sought death sentence for these people, for the Shia, these Zakzaki people. They've detained Zakzaki and his wife since then. They sought death sentence for the Shia Muslims in Zaria. But when it comes to Boko Haram terrorists, my fellow Nigerians, how can we not be provoked into saying that this government was behind Boko Haram? When they seek death sentence for Shia Muslims and they pay, El-Rufai gave money to Fulani militants who had killed people. He said, I'm Fulani like you. Buhari paid Boko Haram terrorists to free, allegedly to free abducted girls, paid them millions, released 5 of them. Man, it is so frustrating. We have lost 4 years. We have lost these 4 years. Fellow Nigerians in diaspora, may now wake up, may we gather. We are going back for the diaspora intervention. We are going to go back and change this country. They will never allow diaspora vote, but we are going to take diaspora action. Diaspora intervention is needed because the minds in Nigeria have been washed down. Everybody has been forced into perpetual slavery, dependence, and subservience. Everybody in Nigeria has been forced into submission to barbarism, to inhumanity, to fanaticism, to insanity, to wickedness, to pure evil. Now, those of us with there abroad, we are liberated, we are exposed, and we are not allowing that system to collapse our brains. May una gather, follow me. Diaspora Intervention 2019. This one, we don't waste 4 years, but we are coming in. Haba! Amnesty for Boko Haram. 43, only 43, going to be sentenced for just 3 to 31 years. So out of the 1,669, only 100 will be locked up for 3 to 31 years. They massacre, they kill people, they destroy the whole Northeast. That's why Babachir Lawal, accused of stealing money for development of the Northeast, Buhari is shielding him. He doesn't give a damn about the people of the Northeast. He doesn't give a damn about the suffering of Nigeria. He doesn't give a damn about the famine, the loss of life Boko Haram has caused.